The only Stormzy song I know about is the one where he's telling people to shut up. It's a bit rude, but that hasn't stopped him from amassing a huge fan base, which includes people like Jeremy Corbyn and even the current Prime Minister, Keir Starmer. Or, so he claims anyway. It might surprise you to learn that not all of his fans are middle-aged politicians. They include a lot of young British people too. And it's not just for his music telling people to shut up. For years, Stormzy, or Stormzy's as he's known to middle-aged people pretending to know who he is, has promoted himself as somewhat of a progressive. In 2017 and 2019, he backed Corbyn's Labour Party, which ran on a left-wing platform. He called Corbyn the first man in a position of power who is committed to giving the power back. He has also been a supporter of the Palestinian cause. Speaking on the issue in an Instagram post, he said, "If there is ever a clear injustice in the world, no matter how big or small, 100 times out of 100, I will be on the side of the oppressed." And that second statement is now coming back to haunt him. You might have noticed his recent collaboration with McDonald's, a fast food corporation currently the subject of a boycott by Palestinian supporters after its Israeli franchise handed out free meals to Israeli soldiers. The partnership was always going to be controversial, given just how many of his fans are pro-Palestinian. But things really took a turn for the worst when Stormzy deleted his original Instagram post in support of Palestine. Let me be clear here, I'm not here to judge whether Stormzy sold out the Palestinian cause for McFlurries. That's for random people on social media to do. What I want to get to the root of is why people feel such a sense of betrayal over his supposed hypocrisy. And to do that, we need to look at our ideas of authenticity. So what is authenticity? In its simplest definition, to live authentically is simply to live according to our truest selves. Now that sounds simple, but it's a confusing concept because people mistake it for just doing whatever they want to do at any given moment. We have two versions of who we are. There's a version of you which you identify with your ego. It does whatever is best for your own interests. And while it might reference a moral framework when it's convenient to do so, when push comes to shove, self-interest takes precedence. Then there's a higher self. This is the version of you that holds itself accountable to a higher set of values, ones you cannot compromise on because they are considered to be God-given or universal. To illustrate this example, there's a higher Stormzy who believes in universal human rights and considers himself an advocate for Palestinian rights. Then there's a version of Stormzy that cares more about his bottom line and getting that sweet, sweet McFlurry money. It's easy to get judgmental, and in reality, this isn't about Stormzy at all. It's about ourselves and the way we project qualities we like to see in ourselves outwards. The reason why we care so much about Stormzy's supposed hypocrisy is because he reflects what is inside ourselves. No one hating on Stormzy actually knows who Stormzy really is, so has to create an idea of him based on the limited information they have available, coupled with their own thoughts, fears and anxieties. We all have ideas about ourselves and what our values are, but rarely are we ever tested on them. The version of ourselves that stands up to bullies or turns down a lucrative job because it goes against our values stems from our idea of our higher self. But how many of us can be sure that we won't sell out ourselves in a critical moment? We live with that anxiety and project our ideal selves on to celebrities like Stormzy because it's easier to judge and criticise them than carry the burden of those expectations ourselves. We therefore excitedly celebrate each famous person who adopts a cause we believe in and equally condemn those who fail to live up to our expectations of moral consistency. That's not to absolve people from having bad political opinions. The killing of innocents is wrong regardless of where you stand on the political spectrum, but that value is held strongest within yourself rather than in other people. The point is, authenticity can only be experienced within yourself and not through others. When celebrities change their minds about the causes we believe in, we feel a loss of trust that should never have been placed in them in the first place. If a value is truly universal, it should not matter who believes in it, so long as you do. This is not a call to stop holding people accountable for bad opinions, but instead for us not to place responsibility for our values on others.